Welcome back to a new video. As you have seen the title, this is not a travel vlog. I'll be talking about the long-term performance of this bike. I'm not sure if it can be called as a long-term review because 25 to 30k is the range where most people do a long-term review. But it's fine, I'm almost nearing 16k kilometers. It's 15894. Few people were asking me on Instagram and YouTube about the long-term performance. People who are planning to buy this bike, they'd like to know more about this, which is fair. When you plan to invest on a vehicle, you would like to know the in and out. So I hope I can help you with your decision. I've actually done a review when I clocked 6,500 kilometers. I tried to explain everything in detail, like the ergonomics, a bit of touring review and everything. I'll link the video here. If you can watch that and come here, maybe you can relate things a lot more easier. But otherwise it's fine. If you don't have time, you can watch this. You'll have a fair understanding. Out of 16k kilometers, 75% was done during longer rides or weekend rides, and the rest were city commutes. Although this is known as a city commuter, it's a capable vehicle for longer rides as well. So I'll be talking from that point of view. I'll mention what has changed, what has performed well, and what is consistent. So first thing, I'll talk about the performance, and I'll start with the refinement first. As you all know, this is one of the most refined vehicle in this segment. To be honest, the refinement is almost the same. I don't see any kind of vibrations from any part of the vehicle so far. Even the engine performs well. It could be because I upgraded few things like the engine oil. When I completed 8,000 kilometers, I upgraded to Castrol Power Ultimate 10W40. Again, you can find the video if you want to know more about that engine oil. I've also done an engine oil change, so you can probably watch that. Castrol performed really well. I would say there was a slight improvement in the refinement, very slight, negligible difference, and even the throttle response was very good. For my purpose, especially for touring, that oil performed well. Even when I ride for 200-300 kilometers in a stretch, I was not seeing any difference in the performance. It was consistent, unlike the stock engine oil, where I ride for 200-300 kilometers continuously. I could feel the refinement is low and the loudness from the engine used to increase. So that was not happening with Castrol. Even the fuel efficiency, I was getting an average of 45 while touring and 40 to 42 in city limits, sometimes even 45 plus. While touring, you know, it will be a mix of highways, guard section, patchy roads, and even city limits. So getting 45 was actually good. And one area where I feel this oil can do better is gear shifting experience. In city limits, especially if there's stop and go traffic where I'll have to shift gears more often, I felt the gear shifting is a bit hard. Only in city limits, that too stop and go traffic. Otherwise it's fine. So that's one thing that can be better. And I've used this engine oil for last 7,000 kilometers. Not the same oil, I changed once in between. I usually change the oil every 3,500 kilometers. What I meant is I used the same brand for last 7,000 kilometers and it performed really well. Right now, from last 1,500 kilometers, I've been using Motul 7100 10W40. I would say the characteristics are almost identical. It performs like Castrol, but two areas where I felt it performed better is the gear shifting and the refinement. The gear shifting is slightly better with Motul, and the main thing was the refinement during higher revs, especially after 8,000 RPM. Motul performs better. Castrol was fine, but after 8,000 or close to 9,000 RPM, I used to get that buzz feeling. Not exactly a vibration, it was just that buzz feeling on the handlebar and the foot pegs. Motul performs better in that rev range, and if you're wearing riding gloves, you hardly feel anything. Both these engine oils are really good. Even the fuel efficiency, it's almost same like Castrol. 45 was the average. Motul is a bit more expensive, whereas Castrol is pocket friendly. Yeah, that's the difference. And one thing about Motul that I've heard is, I haven't experienced it yet because I've just completed 1500 or 1600 kilometers, but Motul's oil level drops after 2000 kilometers by 50 or 100 ml is what I've heard. It's like a common feedback. I don't think it's a deal breaker because anyway you're buying 2 bottles of 1 liter. The capacity is 1200 ml. So when you buy 2 bottles of 1 liter, you'll have 800 ml left. And it's always a good practice to keep checking your engine oil level every month or every 1500 kilometers. You can always top up. 50 to 150 ml of oil level drop is not a concern, I would say. Anything about 300 to 500 ml is a concern. Otherwise it's fine. 50-100 ml top up is actually good. It's an oil cooled engine, so that is acceptable. There are 2 changes that I noticed from last 10,000 kilometers. First thing is the gear shift. I think the wearing happening on the chain can affect the gear shifting experience. So it's not a drawback. The first 5,000, 10,000 kilometers, your vehicle is still brand new. The gearbox will be new. So it will be butter smooth. But as you keep riding, the chain gets old, which will affect the gear shift, which is not a problem. There are a few things that keeps changing as you ride, and it depends on your usage as well. So I would say it's part of the wear and tear process happening on the chain. And there's a particular way to shift gears. All pro riders do it. I try to practice it all the time and apply it, and it works well. So it's called rev matching while downshifting, and there's a knack for upshift as well. You can find a lot of videos on YouTube about it. I don't want to share because I'm not 100% good at it. So you can watch the videos and try practicing it. You can smoothly shift your gears then. And the next thing is stalling during cold starts. I think it's a common issue with all BS6 vehicles, not just with TVS brand, but Bajaj, Royal Enfield, Himalayans. I've heard this issue. What happens is during cold starts, your engine can turn off multiple times. I thought it could be an issue with the ECU. I got the ECU flashed a couple of times, and I got the fuel injector cleaned as well, but still it continued. Very recently I got to know that it's related to the O2 sensor and the fuel mixture. It's not exactly an issue. It doesn't affect your vehicle in any way, but when you fill up petrol from different pumps, the quality can make a difference and it will affect the fuel mixture. I'm not 100% sure about this, but what I've heard is it's related to the O2 sensor and the fuel mixture. And I've also noticed when I use high octane petrols like XP95, XP100 and even Shell petrol, this doesn't occur that often. So it means it's something related to the fuel mixture for sure. So that's something you need to get used to. It doesn't happen all the time, like 4 out of 10 times it happens. And that's about the performance. And next I'll go to the touring. I use this vehicle mostly for touring, and I'll start with the ergonomics first. As you all know, it's not a complete upright seating. It's a bit on a sportier side, not too aggressive, just a bit towards the front. And this seating is not at all a problem for touring. You can tour all day with this sitting position, and trust me guys, it's so much fun to ride in this position, especially in those curves and twisties. You feel more engaged to the bike. You feel like you're having more grip and control. I think they purposefully built it this way because a beginner can start with this machine on a track, so it will help even when you try to practice on track. If you're more than 6 feet, you might face problems, but anyone below 6 feet, they'll have enough leg room, and it's comfortable as well. No wrist pain, no shoulder aches, no back pain, nothing. So it's all good with the ergonomics. And the next thing is the seating comfort, which is not that great. For city commutes and daily use, it's fine, manageable, even the pillion seat. But if you plan to buy this bike for touring, then you should do something with the seating. Maybe add a gel seat or extra cushioning. For longer rides, I would suggest you to avoid jeans pant because the stitching on the back pocket can hurt you, basically hurt your butt. Currently I'm using cargo pants for my longer rides, but I'm planning to buy a riding pant soon. The riding pant has a flat surface on the back, which can make the ride more comfortable, the longer rides. But again, it won't solve the seating. It's still hard. If it's 200-300 kilometers ride per day, it's fine, but beyond that, it's an issue. And when it comes to pillion comfort, it's not that great. Again, for office and daily commutes, it's manageable, but for longer rides, no. If you plan to travel with a pillion, then you'll have to consider some other vehicle. And the next thing is the cruising speed, which is applicable on highways. I would say the sweet spot falls in between 90 to 100. Anything between 80 to 100 is fine, it'll go smooth. Even if you push it to 110, it's okay, but beyond 110 you'll start feeling the buzz in the handlebar, foot pegs. Till 110 you can push it, but I would say the exact cruising speed or sweet spot is 90 to 100. And if you're a peaceful tourer like me, 90 to 100, anything between 80 to 100 is a good consistency. You can keep a good pace. When I ride along with my cousins who owns Interceptor and Dominar, they'll be cruising in 120 or 100, and even if I keep 90 to 100, I won't be left behind. I'll be almost near them. So it's not a problem even when you plan to ride with high cc vehicles. But if you're a person who is planning to ride 500 to 600 kilometers a day, especially on highways, then you'll miss the 6th gear. It actually depends on the ride and the rider. If I'm riding a Dominar or Interceptor, my cruising speed would fall in between 110 to 120 because the bike is capable for that. For me, I want the bike to be comfortable and myself to be comfortable, so I'll understand the bike's limitations and ride accordingly. So that's about the cruising speed, and in Ghats section, you know, it doesn't matter. This is one of the best bikes to ride in Ghats. The tank has enough space to carry any kind of tank bags, and even in the rear section. I'll talk about the luggage capacity later. If you have any questions, if I missed out on any points, you can always DM me on Instagram or put it down in the comments. I can always respond. So yeah, that's about the touring. And the next thing is servicing and maintenance. Another thing, like whatever I've said so far, like the performance or consistency, I would never say you can expect the same thing when you buy Apache. It depends on how you ride and maintain. I take care of the bike really well, give it for timely service. I've also learned few DIYs like engine oil change, air filter checks, and chain cleaning and adjustment. Not adjustment, chain cleaning, including the front sprocket. So if you maintain and ride well, any vehicle will perform well in the long run. So talking about the service, I think I've done around 8 or 9 services. It was mostly general servicing, and I don't have to mention, you all know that TVS has got one of the cheapest service setup in India. It's pocket friendly, and the major work done on my bike so far is, first thing, tappet valve adjustment, second thing is fuel injection cleaning, and third, cone set. I'll talk about it one by one. First thing is the tappet clearance. I got it done during 8,000 kilometers before I upgraded to Castrol. I didn't hear any sound or any noise from the engine, but my service advisor, and one more thing, I've built a good rapport with my service advisor and the technicians. So they take care of my bike really well, and if you're in Mysore, I can always refer you to that person. So he suggested me to get the tappet valve clearance checked every 10,000 kilometers. 10,000 to 15,000 kilometers for 200cc vehicles. If it's a higher cc vehicle, the intervals will increase. Most of the service center people will ignore it because you'll have to remove the tank, you'll have to remove the engine head, and if they have so many vehicles in the queue, they won't really do it unless there's a problem or sound from the engine. But it's always recommended to get it checked every 10,000 to 15,000 kilometers. Even if you don't hear any sound, just get it checked. It will help in the long run. And the next thing was fuel injection cleaning. I got it cleaned twice, one from Art of Motorcycles, I'm sure you guys have heard about this place, and one time in showroom. as in the service center. As I said, when I go on longer rides, different districts, different states, I can't really look for the best petrol pump. Whenever I'm low on fuel, I'll have to find the nearest petrol pump and refuel. In those cases, the quality can make a difference. As I said, the cold start stalling can occur more often. So it's always better to get the fuel injection cleaned for better performance, and it will solve the stalling issue to an extent. And the next thing was cone set and the tire upgrade. It started raining. Yeah, anyway, I'll talk. From last 500 kilometers, I've been noticing this wobbling issue with the handlebar. Even in those curves and twisties, I wasn't getting the usual control, and when I leave the handlebar, it would wobble even in 60s. So I assumed it was something with the cone set. I had a service due last week of last month. The handlebar was stiff and they changed the cone set. When they did a trial, the wobbling was still happening, it wasn't solved. Oh damn it, it's raining, man. It was raining, not exactly raining, drizzling. So I took a shelter. Yeah, so the thing is, even after replacing the cone set, the wobbling was not solved. They checked the tire rotation manually and it was uneven. To prove that, they installed a new tire and gave me a trial. When I did a test ride, it was just perfect. There were no problems at all. It was going so smooth. That's how we got to know the problem was with the tire, and they suggested me to replace it. The back tire was fine. It could run another 3000 or 4000 kilometers. I actually expected a tire mileage of 20 to 25k, but it's fine. Almost 16,000 with the stock tire. That too Remora. The front one was Remora and back was TVS Eurogrip Pro Torque. I thought I'll change both together, otherwise it'll be uneven again. And I had two options, Pirelli Angel CT and Eurogrip Pro Torque Extreme. Both of these had good reviews, but the availability was an issue. And then I contacted this team called Torque Block in Bangalore. They almost deal all brands, and they suggested me to go for Michelin because they had good customer feedback for this tire. And for bikes like Duke 200, R15 or any other sports bike, this tire was doing really well, is what I've heard. So that's how I decided to go for Michelin Pilot Street 2. It's too soon to talk about the tire. I've hardly done 100 or 150 kilometers. It's still under the break-in period. Only when I complete 500 or 1000 kilometers, I'll get to know the actual feel and grip. Maybe I can update that later. But for now, it's good. Okay, I got stuck in rain again, so I decided to stop and talk. This could be the first thing I bought without watching any reviews or doing enough research. I'm a person who does a lot of research, even if it's a small thing, electronic gadget, riding gear or anything related to bike. I will watch the reviews, I'll do enough research and then go for the purchase. This one was unexpected, I had to get it changed, and the team Torque Block, they have very good knowledge on this, so I trusted them. And the tire also fell under my budget. It costed me 5,400 plus 300 for shipping, so 5,700 for shipping, and they ship all India. It can reach you within 3-4 days. Even the packing is amazing. So yeah, that's about the service and maintenance part. And for chain cleaning and lubing, I'm using TRM Calidat for lube and WD-40 for chain cleaning. And the next part is modifications. I haven't done any crazy modification. It's just necessary stuff for my purpose. The first thing you'll notice is the saddle stay and the paint. This is not a paint, it's a PPF, paint protection film. This was the first thing that was done. I got it done during December 2020. It's almost been 1.5 years. And trust me guys, it's working really well for me. It has made my cleaning job 10 times easier. It costed me 7,500 to coat the whole bike. It is actually a peelable layer which can be peeled off, not by us. It's very hard to peel off. It stays intact, and I think only they can do it. Maybe they'll apply a solution and take it off, and it won't damage your stock paint. There's no problems as such. I'm actually satisfied with this, but I wouldn't recommend it 100% because of the durability. If you're a person who gives the bike for pressure wash, then it might affect the layer. As I said, it's a peelable layer. It's not like when you get a pressure wash done, it'll come off. No, but in a long run, it'll affect the layer. I'll never recommend for pressure wash. It's always good to clean the bike on your own. But if you have that habit of giving the vehicle for pressure wash, then it might be a problem. If there's a deep scratch, the layer can start peeling off from the edges. So that's one more thing to note. Like if you're someone who's planning to change the look for temporary period, then PPF is the best option, matte PPF. You also get gloss, which has self-healing property, but there won't be any change. It'll look like there's a lamination over your stock paint. But for temporary purpose, it's fine. If you think about long term and durability, I would suggest you to get a paint work done, a clear coat matte finish. Maybe I'll get it done in 1 or 2 years. So that's about the PPF. And the next thing done was the lever guards. I bought these from Bangalore JC Road. It costed me 700 rupees. If you bargain well, you can get it for lesser price, but I feel for 700 it has a really good quality and build. It's pure metal, and I don't know if there's any brand name printed on this. A lot of people ask me, but there's no brand name. And to get it fixed, I had to remove the bar end on both the sides and get a nut welded. I don't know if TVS does this purposefully, but they provide very less provision for modifications. So yeah, you'll have to do some art and craft work. So I got a nut welded on both the sides so that it can be a universal fit. It's always best to purchase it offline and install it outside. Online purchase, you can have these problems. So that's one more thing to note. And the next modification was the hazard switch for hazard lights. Again, it's very useful in rain and foggy weather, especially if you're on longer rides. I bought the switch from Bandidos. It costed me 500. Not sure if it's original Mad Dog switch, but the quality and build feels good. And I got it installed in HTRZ Modes, Bangalore. The next thing was the mobile holder, which is again a useful thing. The brand is Bobo Gears, which is a well-known brand, and it costed me 1,700. It comes with USB fast charging, and the connection goes to the ignition. Only when I turn on the key, this works. I got it fixed to the handlebar, not the mirror mount, because handlebar it can be more sturdy. I just had to loosen this throttle set and adjust, not really move, just loosen and adjust it so that this can go in completely. The product is really good. The mobile feels strong and sturdy, no vibrations. I bought it offline again from STRZ Modes when I got that fixed. And the last thing, as you can see, is the top rack and saddle stay. These are from Lluvvia Industries, Coimbatore. I bought it online from their site. It costed me 7,500 including shipping. As I said, Apache has very less options, so it was hard for me to find an alternate brand. I know it's expensive, but it's worth it. I would say you get for what you pay. The quality, build and finish is top notch, no doubt. They make products for other bikes as well, so you can check out their site. Shipping is also done safe and secure. They provide all nuts and bolts. You just need Allen key and a spanner to fix it. Everything looks good, but one thing missing is a connection from this corner to this point of the footrest. They've actually provided it, but it's just not fitting. There seems to be a size issue. I contacted them and they told me to loosen up everything and try fitting it, but I was lazy. To be honest, this already feels so strong because there's already two connections going in, one from here to this point on both the sides and this rod in between. Even if I install two fully loaded saddlebags, it can easily hold up without any issue. Right now the luggage carrying capacity has increased. It's more convenient for me. I can place a duffel bag and find loopholes to tie it with the bungee cord. Top rack, I bought these for the looks, honestly. I have no plans to install a top box, but it will make the look complete. I have plans to buy a saddle bag, but for now it's fine. Everything looks good, and I don't have any plans to add more accessories. I think I have enough accessories for my purpose. I don't like adding more weight to the vehicle. I think I covered all the points I had. As I said, if you have any questions, if you think I missed out on any points, you can always DM me on Instagram or put it down in the comments. I will always respond. Or if you are an Apache owner who has experienced something else, something better or something worse, your inputs are appreciated because it can help me and others. And that's it for the video. I know it was long. Thank you so much if you watched it till here. I hope it was helpful, because that's the reason I made this. And yeah, see you in the next ride.